So there's no real need for introduction for this one, and yes, the death tree is still here. You know what CyberPunk is? You clicked on this video knowing what this is. If you actually don't know what the whole backlash situation is about, here's a quick recap. The game has been in development for 7 or 8 years, if I'm rightly, and it was initially promoted for PS4 and Xbox One, and ended up coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, but as well as the new gen, so PS5 and Xbox Series X, as well as PC. On all of these consoles, the game was pretty much in an unfinished state, and on the PS4 and Xbox One, it was in an unacceptable state. Beyond the glitches, it was just unplayable to an extent. So what CD Projekt Red ended up doing was they released a 45GB update to the 47GB game. Call of Duty, my ass. Even after that update, not much had changed. The game was a bit more playable on the modern, or the previous gen. That's what we're calling PS4 and Xbox One now. God, I'm old. So what Microsoft and Sony ended up doing was they removed the game from their stores and were giving refunds to people who actually purchased the game. PC, however, did no such thing. Not to my knowledge about the refunds though, but they kept the game in their stores. So now that you caught up to pace, let's talk about the game. Was it good? Is it as bad as people are talking about? Put the glitches aside. How good is the actual game? Stick around and we'll find out together from the perspective of someone who played it on PS4. That's to be noted. So, the main thing which a lot of people have been saying is that it had too high expectations set for it and it was going to flop anyway, and I beg to differ. Let's establish a few things before we get into that. One, that argument is bullshit. We'll get into that in a minute. Two, the game is beyond repair. Unless they rewrite like half of the code, but for now they're going to probably just surface level bug fixes. That's the most they'll do. Which I thought a 45GB update was meant to do, but in fact, after the 45GB update, nothing happened. Mind you, that 45GB update, take a shot every time I said that, was mandatory. You couldn't play the game while it was happening. Anyway, the third thing is, this is not a bad game. A lot of people may disagree with me, we'll get into it in a minute, but this is not a terrible game like a lot of people may have you believe. Now, the whole not being able of meeting expectations is just bullshit. It's been in development for years now, and it's not the most hyped game ever like a lot of people are suggesting. And no matter how high the expectations, a great game is a great game. I mean, take a look at GTA 5, okay? It was hyped like there was no tomorrow, and yet it pulled off a magnificent launch. Nobody was disappointed with it, well, generally at least. The same goes for God of War. CyberPunk launched in the Sonic 06 style. It was borderline unfinished, it felt like a demo, in fact it was a demo. By the way, if my brother is watching this, Listen, you were here. I don't hate the game, okay? And I thank you for getting me CyberPunk as a gift for Christmas, even though we agreed not to get gifts this Christmas, but I appreciate you getting me a game anyway, and I appreciate the sentiment immensely. You may never understand how much I appreciate it, and I had so much fun playing this game. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, but as of me recording this, I haven't finished the game yet, but I wanted to make a video on it anyway, because if I waited too long, it's gonna be shit to talk about. So, thank you very much for getting me that game. The bugs in question are just unacceptable. Even on new gen and beefy PCs, the amount of bugs were just... I mean, they were hilarious, don't get me wrong. Having a serious conversation and just seeing someone ragdoll through the sky and riding your car, smashing into a wall, having the game crash... You know, those kind of things, they're pretty fun to witness. The fact of the matter is this, it should have been delayed another year, in my opinion. All we can do now is take what we have, and here's what we have, a pretty decent game. The story isn't half bad. The endings are subpar, but it's not a bad story. The cyberware mechanic is pretty cool. However, the skill tree and spiel was meh. There was too much shit there, a lot of it was useless, and a lot of it I didn't even bother to go for. And isn't really useful to an extent. The gunplay is meh, which... Is that forgivable for a first-person shooter? That's for you to decide. The city looked fucking beautiful, and that much you can't argue. It was so cool to run around Night City and look around, and it just felt so alive. There were a lot of things happening, and the voice acting was just really fucking good. I mean... Like most good things in this game, there is a bad thing to counter it, and it's that, to an extent, there are too many characters in this game, which, I mean, may sound stupid as an argument to make, but usually, even in games that have a ton of characters, you can kind of remember who those characters are. They're memorable in their own respects, and when they're somewhat important characters, you won't be able to forget them. But in this game, it feels like there's so many characters to the point where if you stop playing it for like a month and come back to it, you'd be like, who are you? And it would take you a minute to get back to it. But, you know, maybe that's the fault of the game. Maybe that's just the fault of the genre. That's for each and every one of you to decide. And, of course, you can customize your dick and vagina. Is this why you clicked on here? Jesus fucking Christ. At core, it is a solid game, but it's in such a bad shape that it's hard to see it. The game could still pull off a No Man's Sky maneuver, even though No Man's Sky wasn't broken at launch, it was just bland, and after years of sticking to it and developers not giving up, it became such a good game that it blew away the initial expectations set for it. I think that this game had potential. It could have blown us away and met our expectations. It was just a victim of poor development choices. I mean, it could still be fixed and become one of the greatest games ever made, but maybe I'm just a dreamer, I guess. The game isn't terrible again. If you want to pick it up, maybe wait. Wait and see. Maybe CD Projekt Red will pull in a clutch and in some way fix this whole mess. For now, I say stay away from it. So yeah, that's in sum everything that I had to say about CyberPunk. If you disagree with me, talk about it in the comments. I'll be there for the one person that comments every fucking 5 years on here. Are you still doing that thing where when I say fuck you take a shot? Please tell me if everyone is doing that. That'll be a nice drinking game. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you're enjoying my content, and don't forget to hit that bell. Twitter and Discord are in the description as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. As always, stay safe. Peace.